welcome back to our YouTube channel. Imagine a world on the brink of total destruction, where the ancient forests and mystical creatures face the ultimate test of survival. Among them is a guardian so powerful, so enchanting, that even Noah himself is awestruck by her presence. Yet, despite her wisdom and strength, God decrees that she cannot enter the ark. Why would such a guardian be left behind? What secrets does her story hold? Join us as we unravel the mystery behind Elowen, the ethereal protector of the forest, and discover the profound reasons why her destiny was intertwined with the rebirth of the world. This is a tale of sacrifice, renewal, and the eternal bond between nature and its guardians. Watch till the end to uncover the incredible truth.
The omen in the days leading up to the Great Deluge, the world was a place of turmoil and decay. The earth, once vibrant and full of life, groaned under the weight of its own sinfulness. Dark clouds perpetually loomed on the horizon, casting an ominous shadow over the land. Rivers, once clear and pure, now ran murky and thick with the detritus of human corruption. The air, heavy with the scent of decay, was filled with the mournful cries of creatures sensing the impending catastrophe. Amidst this atmosphere of despair, Noah, a righteous man chosen by God, toiled day and night to fulfill a divine command. He and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, labored tirelessly to build an ark, a massive vessel constructed from gopher wood and sealed with pitch inside and out. This ark, as specified by God, was to be their refuge from the coming flood, a vessel of salvation for the righteous and a remnant of all living creatures. As the ark took shape, a miraculous phenomenon began to occur.
Animals from every corner of the earth started to arrive, seemingly drawn by an unseen force. They came in pairs, male and female, representing the vast diversity of life: lions and lambs, wolves and rabbits, eagles and sparrows. The gathering of these creatures was a sight to behold, a living testament to the power and will of God. The ark's vicinity became a cacophony of sounds, a chorus of roars, chirps, and growls, mingling with the steady rhythm of Noah's hammer and saw. Among the countless animals making their way toward the ark, a creature of exceptional beauty and mystery watched from the shadows of the ancient forest. This creature, known to the forest dwellers as Elowen, was unlike any other. With the lithe body of a deer, the majestic wings of an eagle, and eyes that glowed like embers, Elowen was a guardian of the forest, a being born of magic and nature. For centuries, Elowen had roamed the forest, protecting its inhabitants and maintaining the delicate balance of the natural world. The forest where Elowen resided was a place of ancient magic. Towering trees with gnarled branches whispered secrets of the ages, their roots entwined in a complex network beneath the soil. Streams of crystal-clear water wound through the underbrush, their melodic babbling a constant hymn to the tranquility of nature. Every creature, from the tiniest insect to the largest predator, lived in harmony under Elowen's watchful eyes. The forest was a sanctuary, a haven of life and renewal in a world increasingly marred by darkness. Elowen sensed the change in the world long before the first animal arrived at the ark. The trees spoke of a coming storm, a deluge that would cleanse the earth. The rivers, once so joyous in their flow, now whispered of an end. The very air crackled with the energy of impending doom. Elowen felt the unease deep within her being, a gnawing certainty that the natural order she had sworn to protect was on the brink of destruction. From her vantage point atop a hill overlooking the forest, Elowen watched the procession of animals with a growing sense of dread. She could feel the power guiding them, a force she recognized as divine. Yet, as a guardian of the natural world, her duty was to protect all creatures, not just a chosen few. The decision to leave behind her forest, her home, and the countless lives that depended on her was a burden she could not easily bear. Elowen's heart ached as she observed the ark and the animals. She saw the majestic elephants lumbering towards the vessel, their trunks swaying with each heavy step. She watched the graceful antelopes bounding through the grass, their movements a dance of life. Birds of every feather filled the sky, a kaleidoscope of color and song. Even the tiniest insects seemed to heed the call, marching in orderly lines towards the ark. Each creature carried a spark of life, a unique contribution to the tapestry of existence. Elowen knew that the forest, with all its wonders, would not be spared. The thought of leaving behind the ancient trees, the hidden glades, and the creatures she had protected for centuries filled her with profound sorrow. The birds who sang her name in their morning chorus, the deer who grazed peacefully under her watchful eye, even the predators who hunted in the shadows, all of them looked to her for protection. How could she abandon them in their hour of greatest need? In her anguish, Elowen sought the counsel of Yggdrasil, the ancient tree of wisdom that stood at the heart of the forest. Yggdrasil was the oldest and wisest of trees, its roots reaching deep into the earth, and its branches extending towards the heavens. It had witnessed the birth of the world and held knowledge beyond comprehension. Elowen often turned to Yggdrasil in times of trouble, seeking guidance from its vast reservoir of wisdom. "O wise Yggdrasil," Elowen began, her voice trembling with emotion. "The time of the great flood approaches. I have seen the ark, and the creatures gather. Should I too seek refuge? Or should I remain to protect our home, knowing I cannot save it from the waters?" Yggdrasil's branches rustled softly, and a deep, resonant voice filled Elowen's mind. "Elowen, guardian of the forest, your heart is true and your duty clear. The flood is a cleansing, a rebirth for the world. You must decide where your presence is most needed." Torn between her duty and her instinct for survival, Elowen spent the night among the roots of Yggdrasil, contemplating her path. The forest around her seemed to hold its breath, awaiting her decision. As dawn approached, she knew she needed to speak with Noah himself to understand more about this divine plan and her place within it. With a heavy heart, Elowen spread her wings and took flight, leaving the ancient forest behind. She soared over the gathering animals, their eyes wide with a mix of fear and hope. As she approached the ark, she could see Noah and his sons working tirelessly, their faces lined with determination and fatigue. The air was thick with the scent of fresh wood and the chatter of animals, a symphony of life on the brink of salvation. Elowen landed gracefully before the ark, her presence causing the animals to fall silent. Noah turned, his eyes widening in awe at the sight of her. In that moment, Elowen knew that her journey was just beginning, and the fate of the forest lay in the balance. The dilemma. Elowen stood at the base of Yggdrasil, the ancient tree of wisdom, seeking solace and guidance. The tree's gnarled roots spread out in a massive network, grounding it deeply within the earth. Its branches reached skyward, intertwining with the heavens themselves, and its leaves shimmered with a mystical light that reflected the countless secrets and knowledge it had absorbed over the eons. Yggdrasil had always been a place of refuge for Elowen, a sanctuary where she could find clarity amidst the chaos. As the guardian of the forest, she had often communed with the tree, seeking its wisdom on matters of great importance. Today her heart was heavier than ever before, burdened by the impending doom and the impossible choices she faced. "O wise Yggdrasil," Elowen began, her voice trembling with the weight of her worries. "The time of the great flood approaches. I have seen the ark, and the creatures gather. Should I too seek refuge? Or should I remain to protect our home, knowing I cannot save it from the waters?" The tree's branches rustled softly, creating a symphony of whispers that filled the air. A deep, resonant voice emerged from within the rustling leaves, filling Elowen's mind with a sense of ancient wisdom and profound calm. "Elowen, guardian of the forest, your heart is true and your duty clear. The flood is a cleansing, a rebirth for the world. You must decide where your presence is most needed." Elowen felt a surge of frustration mingled with her sorrow. "But how can I choose, Yggdrasil? If I leave, the forest and all its inhabitants will be lost. If I stay, I will perish with them. Is there no way to save both?" Yggdrasil's voice remained gentle yet firm. "Elowen, the world is in a state of imbalance, and the flood is a divine act to restore that balance. As a guardian, you must trust in the greater plan. Your duty is not only to the forest but to the harmony of all creation." Torn between her duty and her instinct for survival, Elowen spent the night among the roots of Yggdrasil, contemplating her path. She felt the pulse of the ancient tree, a steady heartbeat that connected her to the very essence of the earth. The forest around her seemed to hold its breath, the animals and plants sensing the weight of her decision. As dawn approached, Elowen knew she needed to understand more about the divine plan and her place within it. She needed to speak with Noah himself, the man chosen by God to build the ark and preserve life. Perhaps he could provide the clarity she sought. With a heavy heart, Elowen spread her wings and took flight once more. She soared over the forest, her eyes sweeping over the landscape she had sworn to protect. The trees, the rivers, the creatures, all of them depended on her. The thought of leaving them behind was almost unbearable. Elowen flew towards the clearing where the ark stood. The air was thick with the scent of fresh wood and the chatter of animals. Noah and his sons were busy overseeing the final preparations, their faces lined with determination and fatigue. They moved with a sense of urgency, aware that time was running out. Elowen landed gracefully before the ark, her presence causing the animals to fall silent. Noah turned, his eyes widening in awe at the sight of her. The weight of her decision was evident in her eyes, and Noah could sense the turmoil within her. "You are unlike any creature I have seen," Noah said, his voice filled with wonder and compassion. "What brings you here, guardian of the forest?" Elowen took a deep breath, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I am Elowen, and I have come to ask why the creatures of my realm must perish while others are spared. Is there no place for the guardians in this new world?" Noah looked at Elowen with a mixture of sympathy and sadness. "The world has become corrupt, and God has decreed this flood to cleanse it. The ark is meant to preserve life, to give the world a second chance. Your duty as a guardian is noble, but the flood is beyond our control." Elowen's eyes burned with an inner fire. "If I leave, the forest will be unprotected. If I stay, I will perish with it. Is there no place for the guardians in this new world?" Noah's heart ached at her words. "I do not have all the answers. Perhaps God has a reason for everything, even for why certain beings must remain. The ark is a vessel of salvation, but it cannot carry the weight of the entire world. Each being must find their place in the new order." Elowen felt a surge of frustration. "But what of the forest? What of the creatures who depend on me for protection? How can I abandon them?" Noah placed a gentle hand on Elowen's shoulder. "Your sacrifice will not be in vain. The flood is a cleansing, but it is also a rebirth. From the waters, new life will emerge. Your spirit, your essence will continue to guide and protect the natural world, even if you are not physically present." Elowen bowed her head, tears of understanding and sorrow mingling on her cheeks. "I understand now. My duty is to the balance of nature, even if it means facing the end." With a heavy heart, Elowen returned to the forest. She spent her remaining days strengthening the magic that bound the forest, ensuring that its essence would survive the deluge. She spoke to the animals, comforting them and preparing them for the end. As the first drops of rain fell, Elowen stood at the heart of the forest, her wings spread wide. She sang an ancient song, a melody that carried the hopes and dreams of every living being. The waters rose, but Elowen remained, her spirit merging with the trees, the rivers, and the very soul of the earth. The floodwaters swallowed the forest, and for a time there was silence. But as the waters receded, new life began to stir. Seeds sprouted, and saplings reached for the sky. The forest was reborn, and with it, the spirit of Elowen. Years passed, and the world healed from the great flood. The ark had landed, and Noah and his family set about repopulating the earth. Among the new forests that grew, there was one that stood out in its beauty and vitality. It was said that this forest had a guardian spirit, a presence that could be felt in the rustling leaves and the whispering winds. The encounter as the first light of dawn broke through the dense canopy of the ancient forest, Elowen spread her wings and took flight. The wind whispered through her feathers, carrying with it the scents of pine, damp earth, and blooming flowers. She soared high above the trees, her sharp eyes scanning the horizon. Below, the forest stretched out in all its verdant glory, a sea of green dotted with clearings and streams. It was a land she had protected for centuries, and now she felt a deep sorrow at the thought of leaving it behind. Elowen's flight took her over rivers that glistened like silver ribbons and valleys that echoed with the calls of birds and the rustling of leaves. As she approached the clearing where the ark stood, the landscape began to change. The trees thinned out, giving way to open fields where animals of all kinds had gathered. The air was thick with the scent of fresh wood and the murmur of countless creatures. Noah's Ark was a massive structure, its wooden hull towering above the ground. It was unlike anything Elowen had ever seen, a testament to human ingenuity and divine guidance. The Ark was surrounded by a flurry of activity. Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, were hard at work, their movements quick and efficient. They moved with a sense of urgency, driven by the knowledge that time was running out. Elowen landed gracefully at the edge of the clearing, her presence causing a ripple of silence to spread through the crowd of animals. Creatures of all shapes and sizes turned their heads to gaze at her, their eyes wide with a mixture of curiosity and awe. Elowen's ethereal beauty and commanding presence made her stand out even among the most majestic of beasts. Noah, who had been directing the loading of supplies, turned at the sudden hush. His eyes widened in amazement as he beheld Elowen. He had seen many wondrous creatures, but none like her. She seemed to embody the very essence of the forest, a being of grace and power, with wings that shimmered like the dawn and eyes that glowed with an inner fire. Noah approached Elowen, his face a mixture of awe and reverence. "You are unlike any creature I have seen," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "What brings you here, guardian of the forest?" Elowen took a deep breath, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I am Elowen, and I have come to ask why the creatures of my realm must perish while others are spared. Is there no place for the guardians in this new world?" Noah looked at Elowen with a mixture of sympathy and sadness. "The world has become corrupt, and God has decreed this flood to cleanse it. The ark is meant to preserve life, to give the world a second chance. Your duty as a guardian is noble, but the flood is beyond our control." Elowen's eyes burned with an inner fire. "If I leave, the forest will be unprotected. If I stay, I will perish with it. Is there no place for the guardians in this new world?" Noah's heart ached at her words. "I do not have all the answers. Perhaps God has a reason for everything, even for why certain beings must remain. The ark is a vessel of salvation, but it cannot carry the weight of the entire world. Each being must find their place in the new order." Elowen felt a surge of frustration. "But what of the forest? What of the creatures who depend on me for protection? How can I abandon them?" Noah placed a gentle hand on Elowen's shoulder. "Your sacrifice will not be in vain. The flood is a cleansing, but it is also a rebirth. From the waters new life will emerge. Your spirit, your essence will continue to guide and protect the natural world, even if you are not physically present." Elowen bowed her head, tears of understanding and sorrow mingling on her cheeks. "I understand now. My duty is to the balance of nature, even if it means facing the end." As she conversed with Noah, Elowen felt a presence unlike any she had felt before. A voice of immense power and authority, yet gentle and filled with love, resonated through the clearing. It was a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, filling the very air with its divine presence. It was the voice of God. "Elowen, guardian of the forest," the voice intoned. "You are a being of great wisdom and strength. Your purpose is not to be on the ark, for your fate lies elsewhere. The flood will cleanse the world, but it will also bring about new beginnings. Your sacrifice will not be in vain, for from the waters, new life will emerge, and you will be reborn with it." Elowen felt a sense of peace wash over her, a profound understanding of her role in the grand design. "I understand now, O Lord. My duty is to the balance of nature, even if it means facing the end." God's voice was soothing. "Fear not, Elowen. Your spirit is eternal. You will be part of the new world, guiding it with the wisdom of ages." With her heart lighter but still filled with sorrow for what was to come, Elowen spread her wings and took flight, returning to the forest she had sworn to protect. She flew over the gathering animals, their eyes following her with a mixture of reverence and sadness. They seemed to understand, in their own way, the sacrifice she was about to make. Upon her return, Elowen wasted no time. She went to each corner of the forest, using her magic to strengthen the bonds that held the ecosystem together. She whispered to the trees, encouraging them to spread their roots deep and wide. She spoke to the rivers, asking them to remember their courses and flow with renewed vigor once the waters receded. She comforted the animals, easing their fears and preparing them for what was to come. And as the first drops of rain began to fall, Elowen stood at the heart of the forest, her wings spread wide. She sang an ancient song, a melody that carried the hopes and dreams of every living being within the forest. The song was a promise, a pledge that life would continue, that the forest would rise again from the waters. The creatures gathered around her, listening to the hauntingly beautiful melody, finding solace in the presence of their guardian. The rain intensified, and the waters began to rise. Elowen remained at the heart of the forest, her spirit merging with the trees, the rivers, and the very soul of the earth. The floodwaters swallowed the forest, and for a time there was silence. But as the waters receded, new life began to stir. Seeds sprouted, and saplings reached for the sky. The forest was reborn, and with it, the spirit of Elowen. Years passed, and the world healed from the great flood. The ark had landed, and Noah and his family set about repopulating the earth. Among the new forests that grew, there was one that stood out in its beauty and vitality. It was said that this forest had a guardian spirit, a presence that could be felt in the rustling leaves and the whispering winds. Elowen's legacy lived on, a testament to her sacrifice and the eternal bond between the natural world and its guardians. The revelation in the aftermath of Elowen's departure, the days leading up to the flood, became a flurry of preparation and prayer for Noah and his family. The ark was now complete, a colossal testament to divine instruction and human perseverance. The wooden hull, sealed meticulously with pitch, stood ready to face the coming deluge. The atmosphere around the ark was charged with a sense of urgency as the animals continued to arrive, drawn by an unseen force to their place of refuge. Noah stood at the entrance of the ark, overseeing the final arrangements. Each pair of animals was led into their designated spaces within the ark, their movements calm and orderly despite the chaos around them. His sons and their wives worked tirelessly, guiding the creatures and securing provisions for the journey ahead. The air was filled with the sounds of lowing cattle, chirping birds, and the distant rumble of thunder, a prelude to the impending storm. In the midst of this activity, Noah's thoughts often wandered back to Elowen. Her presence had been both awe-inspiring and deeply troubling. He had seen many animals and witnessed many miracles, but Elowen's visit had touched him profoundly. Her sorrow, her sacrifice, and her unwavering duty to the forest had left an indelible mark on his heart. He wondered about the divine plan and why certain beings like Elowen were destined for different paths. One evening, as the sky darkened with storm clouds and the first drops of rain began to fall, Noah sought solace in prayer. He knelt on the damp ground, his eyes lifted towards the heavens. "O Lord," he prayed, his voice steady despite the turmoil within him, "I seek your wisdom and understanding. Why must some creatures perish while others are saved? Why must beings like Elowen sacrifice themselves for the greater good?" As Noah prayed, a soft light enveloped him, and he felt a presence, comforting and powerful, fill the air. It was a sensation he had felt only a few times before, always when receiving divine guidance. The voice of God resonated within him, filling him with a sense of peace and clarity. "Noah," the voice said, echoing in the depths of his soul, "your faith and obedience have brought you to this moment. The flood is a necessary cleansing, a rebirth for a world mired in corruption. Each creature, each being has a role to play in this divine plan. Elowen's sacrifice is a testament to the balance of nature and the interconnectedness of all life." Noah's heart swelled with understanding, though the sadness remained. "But Lord, why must she, and others like her, be left behind? Is there no place for their kind in the new world?" "The new world," God replied, "will be built on the foundation of sacrifice, renewal, and the eternal bond between creation and its guardians. Elowen's spirit will not perish. It will transcend, becoming part of the very essence of the earth. Her legacy will endure, guiding and protecting the natural world in ways unseen but deeply felt. With these words, Noah's doubts were eased. He understood that the flood was not just an act of destruction, but a profound act of renewal. The divine plan was intricate, weaving together the threads of life, death, and rebirth into a tapestry of creation. Elowen's sacrifice was a crucial part of this design, her spirit destined to nurture and protect the new world that would emerge from the waters. The rains began in earnest, a relentless downpour that soon turned into a torrential flood. Noah and his family retreated into the ark, sealing the massive door behind them. The ark creaked and groaned as it lifted from the ground, carried by the rising waters. Inside, the animals settled into a quiet acceptance, their instincts guiding them through the unfamiliar experience. As the ark floated on the vast expanse of water, Noah often found himself gazing out at the endless horizon. The world he had known was gone, submerged beneath the floodwaters. Yet, he felt a deep sense of hope and faith. He knew that the earth would be renewed, that life would flourish once more, and that the spirit of Elowen and other guardians like her would continue to watch over creation. Days turned into weeks and the relentless rain finally ceased. The ark drifted for many more days until one morning it came to rest on the peaks of Mount Ararat. The floodwaters gradually receded, revealing the ravaged yet resilient landscape. Noah and his family stepped out of the ark, their hearts filled with gratitude and a renewed sense of purpose. The world they emerged into was different, a blank canvas waiting to be painted with the colors of life. The ground was fertile, ready to support new growth. Noah, his family, and the animals set about repopulating the earth, planting seeds and nurturing the first shoots of vegetation. Every step they took was a step towards rebuilding, towards honoring the sacrifices that had been made. Among the new forests that grew, one stood out in its beauty and vitality. It was said that this forest had a guardian spirit, a presence that could be felt in the rustling leaves and the whispering winds. Elowen's legacy lived on, a testament to her sacrifice and the eternal bond between the natural world and its guardians. In this new world, the descendants of Noah flourished, spreading across the land and establishing new communities. They carried with them the stories of the flood, the ark, and the beings who had played crucial roles in the survival and renewal of life. Elowen's story in particular became a symbol of sacrifice, duty, and the enduring spirit of nature. Generations passed, and the memory of the flood became legend, a tale told to children around campfires and inscribed in the annals of history. The forest where Elowen's spirit resided became a sacred place, a sanctuary where people came to seek wisdom and solace. It was a living reminder of the interconnectedness of all life and the importance of balance and harmony with nature. Elowen's essence continued to guide the natural world, her presence a silent, watchful guardian. She was felt in the gentle sway of the trees, the babbling of brooks, and the songs of birds. Her spirit lived on in the new world, a beacon of hope and a testament to the enduring power of love, sacrifice, and renewal. And so, the story of Elowen, the guardian who sacrificed herself for the greater good, became a timeless legend. It was a story of faith, of duty, and of the eternal bond between creation and its protectors. In the new world that emerged from the flood, Elowen's spirit thrived, a guiding light for all who sought to live in harmony with the earth and its wondrous, fragile beauty. The legacy years had passed since the floodwaters receded and the ark settled on Mount Ararat. The world had transformed dramatically, evolving from the barren landscape left in the wake of the deluge into a vibrant, flourishing environment. Nature's resilience was evident everywhere. As plants took root, animals roamed freely, and rivers carved new paths through the rejuvenated earth. Noah's family had expanded, and their descendants spread across the land, forming new communities and rekindling the spark of human civilization. They built homes, cultivated fields, and raised livestock, all while honoring the covenant God had made with Noah, a promise symbolized by the brilliant rainbows that often arched across the sky after storms. In this renewed world, the tale of the flood and the ark became a foundational myth, passed down through generations. It was a story of survival, divine intervention, and the profound importance of living in harmony with nature. Among these tales, the legend of Elowen held a special place, captivating the hearts and minds of those who heard it. The forest where Elowen's spirit resided grew into a place of extraordinary beauty and vitality. It was known as Elowen's Grove, a name that honored the guardian whose sacrifice had ensured the continuity of life. The grove became a sacred site, a living testament to the interconnectedness of all creatures and the eternal bond between the natural world and its protectors. People from near and far made pilgrimages to Elowen's Grove. They came seeking wisdom, solace, and a deeper connection to the earth. The forest seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, a tangible manifestation of Elowen's spirit. The trees stood tall and proud, their leaves whispering secrets to those who would listen. Streams flowed with crystal-clear water, nourishing the land and all who visited. Among the visitors to Elowen's Grove was a young girl named Mira. She had grown up hearing stories of the Great Flood and the Ark, but it was the tale of Elowen that fascinated her the most. Mira felt a special connection to the forest and often wandered its paths, feeling the presence of the guardian spirit in every rustling leaf and bird song. One day, as Mira walked deeper into the grove than she ever had before, she came upon a clearing bathed in dappled sunlight. In the center stood an ancient tree, its trunk wide and its branches reaching towards the heavens. Mira felt an overwhelming sense of peace and reverence as she approached the tree, knowing instinctively that this was the heart of Elowen's Grove. Kneeling at the base of the tree, Mira closed her eyes and began to sing a song her grandmother had taught her. It was an old melodic tune that spoke of the forest's beauty and the guardian who watched over it. As her voice rose and fell with the melody, Mira felt a gentle breeze brush against her face, carrying with it the faint scent of blooming flowers. When she opened her eyes, Mira saw a figure standing before her, bathed in a soft ethereal light. It was Elowen, her wings shimmering like the dawn and her eyes filled with an ancient wisdom. Mira gasped, but her fear quickly melted away, replaced by a profound sense of awe and love. "Do not be afraid, child," Elowen said, her voice as soothing as a gentle stream. "You have a pure heart and a deep connection to the forest. I have watched over you, just as I watch over all who come here." Mira's eyes welled with tears. "I feel your presence everywhere, Elowen. I've always wanted to meet you, to thank you for everything you've done." Elowen smiled, a gesture that seemed to brighten the entire grove. "The forest is a part of you, Mira, and you are a part of it. My sacrifice was not in vain, for it allowed this new world to flourish. But the task of protecting it now falls to those who understand its value and cherish its beauty." Mira nodded, a sense of purpose blossoming within her. "I will do everything I can to protect this forest, Elowen. I promise." Elowen's form began to shimmer, merging with the light and the very essence of the grove. "Remember, Mira, the true power of a guardian lies in their love and respect for all living things. Carry this with you always, and you will honor the spirit of the forest." With those words, Elowen's presence faded, leaving Mira standing alone in the clearing. But she did not feel alone. She felt a part of something much greater. The guardian spirit's words resonated within her, filling her with a resolve to live in harmony with nature and to protect Elowen's Grove for future generations. Mira returned to her village with a new sense of purpose. She shared her experience with others, inspiring them with the story of Elowen and the importance of preserving the natural world. The villagers, moved by Mira's passion and sincerity, joined her efforts to protect and nurture the forest. Under Mira's guidance, the village developed sustainable practices that harmonized with the environment. They planted trees, cared for the wildlife, and ensured that the streams remained unpolluted. Over time, the once small community became known for its deep respect for nature and its commitment to maintaining the delicate balance of the ecosystem. Elowen's Grove thrived, becoming a beacon of hope and a model for other communities. People from distant lands came to learn from Mira and her village, eager to understand how to live in harmony with the earth. The story of Elowen and her sacrifice became more than just a legend. It became a guiding principle for how to coexist with nature. Years turned into decades, and Mira grew old, but her spirit remained as vibrant as ever. She continued to teach and inspire, her bond with the forest unbroken. One crisp autumn evening, as she walked through Elowen's grove, she felt a familiar presence beside her. "Elowen," Mira whispered, a smile touching her lips. "I am always with you, Mira," the guardian spirit replied, her voice as soft as the wind through the leaves. "You have honored the forest and its legacy. The bond between humans and nature is stronger because of you." Mira looked around at the towering trees, the sparkling streams, and the vibrant life all around her. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment and peace. "Thank you, Elowen, for guiding me and for showing us the way." As the sun set, casting a golden glow over Elowen's grove, Mira knew that the spirit of the guardian would continue to watch over the forest and its inhabitants. The legacy of Elowen lived on in the hearts of all who cherished and protected the natural world. And so the grove remained a sanctuary, a place where the spirit of the forest thrived, inspiring generations to come to live in harmony with the earth and all its wondrous creations.